Hello to my Leos. This is Queen Amun Ra coming to you with your general reading. Happy Father's Day to all of the fathers. Hopefully you all are being celebrated on today for all the fathers out there. So happy Father's Day to all the fathers. Let's get right into your reading. This reading is for the 15th through the 22nd of June. Even though these readings are timeless, it's for the 15th through the 22nd of June. Let's get into your reading. I am safe and protected. Talking about your fifth house. So it doesn't matter what your sun, moon, rising, Venus is. It could be Leo, but we're focusing on fifth house. Fifth house is all around romance, creativity, children, your fun, your self-expression, your hobbies, what makes you feel good, right? So yeah, you're safe and protected. Let's get into it. Let's get right into it. So when I say Leos, I'm talking to your fifth house. So for those of you all who I'm talking to Leo in your birth chart, but find out what your fifth house is. Your sign is in your fifth house. What is your fifth house? Because Leos rule fifth house. And so in other words, you want your confidence level to be built. Here with your high vibrating Leos are confident, they're not arrogant at all. And so, but Source really wants you to know that the great I am is inside of you and is keeping you safe and protecting you. So that's the energy that you're giving off. You're giving off energy of confidence, still very kind, but confident, not not arrogant in any way, shape, form, or fashion. So let's see what we got going on here. Let's pull an angel number. This deck here. Angel number, I saw that 444 at the bottom. I feel like somebody is safe and protected. Someone you love is safe and protected. Let's see here. Let's see here. 955, romantic relationships. So reconfigure your loving connections. You are being asked to change up the way of doing things in romance. So whether you are single or in a relationship, your angels would like you to take today to reflect and reconfigure how you go about connecting with others. So give yourself a hug right now and feel the love you have within abundantly flowing throughout your body and soul. This is 955. So something was created possibly by two energies that thought something would be fun. Like you could have been romantically linked with these energies, but something they created, right? But something has now come to an end, right? And so you are safe and you are protected. So could be two ex love interests and you were romantically linked with these energies and who made you feel unsafe and unprotected. Um, or you felt unsafe and unprotected around these energies, and so they created something. Um, Something has ended. So, but you are safe and you are protected. So, whoever these energies are who made you feel safe and unsafe and unprotected. When people say things like, "Oh, a person can't make you feel a certain way," yeah, if you give them access to your water, it's your sacral chakra. This is water, the element of water. They can. You really can't feel like you drank the poison. You believe something like and you feel unsafe and unprotected around these energies. Like, right? Let's pull out some cards. Always bet on you. Always bet on you. Sacral chakra cleanse. Let's talk about water. It's time to do some cleansing, some spiritual cleansing. So somebody may be taking some salt bath, some salt baths, a salt bath. You may be spending time around water, near water, drinking more water, but you have a whole new attitude. Somebody's confidence level is increasing because you feel safe and protected. Like somebody, I feel like at this point, everybody kind of knows where you feel safe and protected. Remember, water. First time we experience water is in a womb, right? Even if you don't remember being inside of a womb, you know something feels safe. Like if you're a person who is, you don't forget that feeling. And I think Dr. Maya Angelou has a saying about you can forget what people say to you, but you never forget how people make you feel, right? Something about you having this whole new attitude of learning how to bet on you. Somebody feels safe, in certain spaces. Somebody just feels safe, in certain spaces. And whatever those spaces are, somebody else is amongst incubi and succubi. right? So back straight and walk away. Some energies you just don't feel safe around them because of the people that they're connected to. They've drank some kind of poison, and I don't mean like actual poison. They've been contaminated by a particular spirit. You just don't feel safe. I mean, that it is what it is. So it's time for you to do the mirror work. You are who they prayed for. Something is not as deep as you think for somebody. So somebody being amongst incubi and succubi, those are sex demons. I did a video on the second channel about incubi and succubi. For them, they may not feel like they may actually like being in that setting. That may make them feel safe. Who knows? But that's why that card right there, something is not as deep as you think. You may not feel safe in that setting, but for another person, they may feel safe and protected in that setting. Who are we to judge? For real, like trust your first mind. You're trusting your first mind. One person may feel safe. They created something with two energies, but then they may feel like they feel safe. You are protected and loved. Yeah, somebody's ex was on some kind of an assignment. Somebody met their match. Heck no, you ain't going back to somebody, whoever. Your bitter ex's lover wants you. Yeah, so some stuff was created. Two energies created something. Here we have somebody miss you. What I'm picking up on is like somebody has two secret enemies. Maybe one thing of a person told you to your face that they don't like you, but some energies behind your back made you feel unsafe and unprotected. And I feel like somebody has felt betrayed. This is a betrayal by two energies. If you don't feel safe and protected around certain people, guess what? That's legit. That's your feelings. You feel how you feel, and that's the end of that. There's no other discussion. All right, let's get into it. All right, talking to your fifth house, no matter what your zodiac sign is, talking to your fifth house, and again, this is around your romantic relationships. If you don't feel safe if you don't feel safe and protected in your romantic relationships, guess what? That's legit. If you don't feel safe and protected around creating something with someone, whether it's a business, uh, taking your relationship to the next level, a friendship, you don't feel creative, creating a brand, whatever. Guess what? You don't feel safe and protected. That's legit. That's your feelings. Your feelings are valid, right? If you don't feel safe and protected, you don't feel like your kids are safe or protected around certain energy. Guess what? That's even your inner child. You don't even have to have kids. Your inner child doesn't feel safe around energy. That something doesn't feel nurturing, a particular environment. Guess what? Valid. If you if you're working on projects, if you're in the workplace and you feel like, okay, I got to work with this team again, I don't feel safe around them. I feel unprotected. I feel like it's other stuff going on with these energies. Every time we work on a project together, it's always something. Guess what? Somebody's about to start making some announcements. Somebody's about to say, I don't feel safe working with you. I don't feel protected. I just feel like whatever you feel. Somebody, just come out and say it. You always betting on you. If it's so y'all get the point with fifth house. If it's something that makes you feel good around energies and you don't feel like you're safe and protected around some energies, it may take you a minute to get, like, if it's a new group of energies or whatever, you're like, okay, hey, you may push back on something. And for somebody else, they may feel safe in those environments where there's drinking and people, sleeping with people or whatever the case may be. For you, if you don't feel safe, then speak up. Speak up. I don't feel safe. Something that's been overwhelming for someone. Somebody feels somebody's secrets. Something has just been overwhelming for someone. And your psychic abilities are letting you know that someone has been feeling overwhelmed in an environment amongst incubi and succubi, all for a whole new lease on life, right? So whoever could feel overwhelmed in a romantic relationship, they could be in a relationship with two, and who knows? Somebody's trying to keep you in the dark about something, but judgment is already coming down on somebody. because your psychic abilities are letting you know somebody is dealing with a an obsessed um energy. So they're obsessed with you, right? Somebody's obsessed with you because you have a whole new lease on life. And yeah, let me see. Yeah, somebody is, what they're obsessed with is your spirituality. They are obsessed with your psychic abilities. They're obsessed with your healing, your solitude, your world service, your secrets. They want to know everything which you know secretly. Like how did you get this whole new lease on life? I feel like I'm talking about somebody who is a fanatic, like somebody who's a fan of yours, but it's almost like to a point where it's taken on a whole nother form, to a point where it's an obsession. Somebody is literally obsessed with you. So y'all be careful out there. It's two energies obsessed, and they ruthless. They are ruthless. It's two types of energies, not just two. It's two types of energies who are just obsessed. Somebody could have been romantically linked with some energy. So once you end that energy, they're tyrannical, out of control. Here was the Two of Cups here. So protect your energy. And remember, if you're a reader, keep your personal business off. If you can, keep your personal life, physical and emotional, energetically out of your read. If you read cards or leaves, or if you read coffee or whatever you're reading, you can read candle wax. No matter what you're reading, if you have any kind of a public whatever, keep that off of, because people assume whatever. You could be talking about a bird, you could be talking about a carrot stick, and somebody would be thinking you're talking about you. Keep it off of there. Because when you got people who are obsessed, any little thing that you say about anything for them is overwhelming. So it's saying, hey, look, that had nothing to do with you. Keep your vibrations high. So I'm seeing you're on top of something. Yeah, is the wheel card. Something about your 10th house. You started believing that you had purpose. Whoever you are started believing that you had purpose and went through a rebirth. Went through a rebirth. And some energies have been obsessed with you ever since. This could have been something from the past. So, for instance, you could be a person who is whatever dream you started believing in, because we think about the moon card, like in your dreams, you could have been whatever your dream was. It's like some energy to like obsessed. I mean, it's no other word I can use, because that's what's hidden in the judgment card. You're going through a very powerful metamorphosis. Somebody's going through a very powerful transformation into this new phase of life for you. And some energies is like, like a magnet. They got to be connected to you in some way, shape, form, or fashion. And you are on top of something. So something about your energy, it's going to stop, because judgment is coming down on some energies. Something is going to stop, because all for a whole new lease on life. What they did something really, really shady for a whole new lease on life with as far as a younger energy trying to compete with you. Somebody who is a soulmate, somebody who is younger. What they did, right? And money was involved with something. All for a whole new lease on life. Just craziness. Here we have the Knight of Pentacles here. So this right here, somebody could be somebody trying to bring out the darkness in you. But so source is saying to you, somebody could be making somebody walk to work to try to bring out some kind of darkness in you, just being shady towards you. So it's time to put a manhole cover over your emotions. Because water, we talk about this, the devil is in the details. Something has come to an end. Here's a 2 and 5 of 7. 7, something is closing out or has closed out for you all. 7 is usually a snake is slithering away. You've had some kind of an awakening, or you will be having some kind of an awakening, that there's certain people you just do not feel safe and protected around. And that's just on that. That's just period. And the light is shining on some secrets. Period. There's certain people you just don't feel safe around. Here's a Chariot card. And so they may not have done anything, but you just don't feel safe around them. And this, guess what? That may be legit for you, because something is generational for you. Um, That's where the judgment card comes in. Um, some people do feel judged in certain spaces because guess what? You were judged, your parents were judged, your grandparents were judged, your great grandparents were judged, and some people are just trying to bring out the darkness in you, right? So, sort of saying practicing dark magic and just doing all kinds of sneaky stuff behind people's back. You're like, no. There's a difference between, like when I on the readings, I talk about like the moon phases, right? It's always to encourage you to stay on the light side of the moon, to stay on the light side of the moon. Dark magic can be overwhelming. You do not want to play with dark magic, period. Words are spells. If you are constantly talking darkness, 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 when it comes to stuff, you are putting that energy out into the universe, and guess what? That's going to come back to you, right? So it's just saying certain people at this stage in your life, it's almost like listening to somebody cuss their kids out. Or doing stuff in front of their kids, whatever the case may be, like, and you almost like, oh my God, you're trying to rise above the judgment. Source is saying, here's a 7 of Cups here. Yeah, so I feel like somebody in their youth. So we're still talking about fifth house, right? You and somebody in your youth. This is between the ages of 8 years old and 14. Um, that's what I was talking about. Like when you say you feel safe and protected, something doesn't have to happen in the physical realm in order for people to not feel safe and protected. It could just be an energy that you're around that you don't feel safe and protected. Somebody may not have done something to you, but something about you. That's what Source is trying to tell people, to stay prayed up for real. Like Source is saying to you, listen, when you're at a crossroad and something has come to light, as far as like romantic relationships or whatever the case may be. Source say if you haven't dealt with something in your spirit already, that something could be overwhelming for you. Source is saying, hey, look, get on top of something within your spirit so that you can have a whole new lease on life, so that you are not in a karmic cycle, whatever it is. So let's say, for instance, let's use profanity for a second. Let's say, for instance, you heard, like now today, you'd be like, beep, 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 beep. Like, there's certain words, it's like, okay, they just like make your ears ring to hear certain things. Your kids, you don't want them to be around certain things. Somebody being around incubi and succubi has just been overwhelming for someone, and you're at a crossroad. Looks like here we have is the 8 of Swords here. So Source really wants you to do the mirror work, because you could feel very restricted in your spirit, but your words are going to create. It's going to help you to end feeling restricted, right? Your words are going to help you end any kind of restriction, because words are very powerful. You're speaking something into existence. Here's the King of Swords here. Yeah. So something into your 11th house, right? Something to your 11th house. 11th house is about your friendships, your community, your goals, your hopes, your wishes, awareness, humanitarianism, technology, the future. Something to your future, right? Yeah. Something to your future. So again, I'm talking to your fifth house. Your fifth house. But something has already come to an end. 7 of Wands here. And you'll be able to see it in the spiritual realm when you're meditating. You're seeing it. Something has already happened. Somebody put a young person on stage. They separated you from a young person, put somebody on stage, possibly in a religious community or whatever, to speak out, tell some kind of lie or something was done behind someone's back. And this is what you have in common with someone. It's almost like somebody, to kind of restrict you in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Maybe somebody says you don't have any money, or you don't wear any shoes to work. I don't know. Like, who knows what somebody said, but it's coming out. Something is coming out. Here's the Seven of Swords here, so that you can close out something. You don't have to talk about this, the sacrifices that you made, or sacrifices ancestors made, whatever the case may be, because something has been overwhelming for you. But again, somebody being amongst incubi and succubi does not necessarily mean that somebody is actually sleeping with someone. It's just being in that space, that can contaminate people's energy, right? Can contaminate people's energy. So, yeah. So, what technological or spiritual tools can support um, the fifth house healing in your fifth house, around romance, creativity, children, um, self-expression, hobbies, what makes you feel good, technological or spiritual tools can support your healing right now. Let's see what we got going on here. Yeah, creating something possibly new for you, so that you, in hindsight, you won't be feeling like, okay, in hindsight, I wish I had moved on from something, to have a hope for someone to have a new lease on life. I wish I had not, in hindsight. So I feel like somebody is creating something you can protect. Here's the Two of Wands here. Something about, so that you don't have to go back to possibly traveling alone. Somebody may be just traveling by themselves right now, but so you're trying to create something where you don't have to go back to traveling alone, right? And so this is where going to be the fruits of your labor. People see you as being very responsible, financially independent, actually, and you have a lot of money coming back to you. Let me see, Ten of Wands here. Yeah. So you can get back to working hard and being responsible. You're a very responsible energy, whoever you are. Somebody's very responsible. And that's what Source is trying to get you back to. Again, fifth house, so you can get back to your romantic relationships, creating the life that you want, to your kids, if you have kids, your hobbies, the things that make you feel good to do. In other words, where you feel safe and you feel protected. That's what Source is putting you in spaces where you feel safe and feel protected. But somewhere in someone's family, they may not have picked up on something between the ages of 8 years old and 14 years old. But yeah, here we have the Ten of Pentacles here. Yeah, something as far as your legacy is concerned. And I feel like somebody is financially independent. You're creating something new. You and someone are creating something new as far as your legacy is concerned. So Four of Cups here. Yeah. Yeah. So talking about apathy. Somebody feels unfulfilled or disconnected as far as something is concerned, in some way, shape, form, or fashion. But somebody is leaving behind a lot of distractions. Here we have the Ace of Pentacles here. So I do feel like you and someone, this big money coming across your path, not that money is everything, it's a form of energy, but it's more of you being somebody living a softer life, because you worked really hard for a softer life and to have a whole new lease on life. But it's really more of like, your worth and your value. That's what I'm seeing here in your cards. Knowing your worth and knowing your value. Six of Pentacles and Five of Pentacles here. So not only is like a seed has been planted, and I do see that seed growing in terms of money, but here we have the Five of Pentacles here. Something was, I feel like somebody needs to pay attention to their neighbors. I don't know who this is for, but somebody may need to start paying attention to their neighbors and people having things pointed at your door. Here we have a bold leader. Somebody need to start paying attention to their neighbors. All right, let's see what else we got. All right. So what is the universe asking you to rebel against in order to revolve? What is the universe asking you to rebel against in order for you to revolve? And let's go ahead and, not revolve, evolve, excuse me, rebel against something. Rebel and evolve. Not revolve, but evolve. Okay. Yeah, so it needs you to just go ahead and you're going through a Saturn return. Saturn return. It happens every 29 and a half years. You can look up Saturn return and what that means. But Source is basically telling somebody they need to learn how to create boundaries and enforce those boundaries. If you feel like you're unsafe in any environment, doesn't matter. In the fifth house, and we talked about fifth house, right? In areas of your romantic relationship, your creativity, your children, your products, your fun, your self-expression, hobbies, what makes you feel good in any way, shape, enforce the boundaries. Just speak up. That's basically what it revolves around. Speak up. Yeah, speak up. You know, if energies are asking what your motive is, what just pull out the sword, scissors, just cut energies off for real. Like you don't need to disrespect. That's what I'm saying right here. Somebody could have cussed you out or gone off on you or said something disrespectful to your face or whatever. Listen, somebody don't need the explanation. Just pull out the sword, hey, or the pen. I'm writing this energy off. Listen, whatever. I'm moving on. In other words, because you don't feel safe or protected around certain energies. Y'all know what I'm saying? Like people, just all this chaos and confusion going on. You don't feel safe. Nope. You don't have to give too much explanation. Now, again, even your workplace, your personal, your professional life, even in your workplace. Yeah. Even if you have family members or friends, or you feel like, okay, I don't like the way somebody talks to me, or whatever the case may be, then I'm gonna have to then whatever. Rejuvenate yourself. So know your limits and allow them to teach you. Limitations can teach you to take better care of yourself. You have full permission to rest and say no. A deeper world. Don't push or force your way through life. Finding balance, even in dark times, will open your heart to the depths of compassion in everyday moments where there is hope. Don't believe that past defeats or disappointments will keep you from succeeding. True success grows from the lessons. A hopeful heart never gives up. Embodiment. Now is the time to make your mark in the world. You decide what feels right to you. Embody your leadership power and create your world out of your deepest desires. Yep. So that's what I have for you. Yeah. That is what I have for you. Something is over. You're rising above the judgment of energies. Something that could have been overwhelming for you. Now the light is shining on something. And Source is saying to you, you've made way too many sacrifices. And you are creating a space for you to feel safe and protected in this new lease on life. But something is going to take somebody back to their roots, like from the very beginning. Like, okay, why do you not feel safe and protected around certain energies, right? Did somebody cuss somebody out and there's something but that's what I'm saying for you in your cards. Hopefully this is helpful. See you all in the next video. But like I said before, something about the fruits of your labor. Something about the fruits of your labor. Somebody just doesn't want somebody to be around people, and that's bottom line. I mean, that's bottom line. So you cutting some energies off. Cutting some energies off. Yep, something is closed out, but it's two energies you're cutting off. Two energies you're saying, nope. Is the Eight of Pentacles here? I see somebody at least 8 streams of income looking at your cards here. But where's the card? Yeah, you're going through a rebirth because I'm looking at the number 13. You're going through a rebirth, so that you don't have to feel like you got to stay connected to energies as far as money is concerned. Because remember, all of this is energy, right? So if you feel like you got to stay connected to energies where money is concerned, so it's like you're energetically still tied to something. And so it's saying you're gonna have to you're breaking some kind of generational cycle chain or curse. So somebody is saying, hey, look, you're not trying to be energetically, emotionally, physically tied to certain energies where you don't feel safe and you don't feel safe or protected around. So that's just gonna be the end of that. So somebody's leaving behind a lot of distractions. You're taking a leap of faith. Some people are gonna say you turned your back. Let me see, what is this? You turn your back on them, but somebody's a hardworking person. Somebody is very responsible. Um, Something has been exhausting for somebody, but the good news is that you're leaving behind a lot of distractions, and that's the key word right there. Yep, you're going through a Saturn return. All right, so let's close this out. Also, listen to your body. Your body is definitely very telling of like kind of like what your spirit is trying to tell you from within. So let's say, for instance, your back starts hurting. The moon could be in Capricorn, right? Or let's say your calves or your shin or your Achilles start feeling some kind of way. You could be low, spiritually dehydrated. So you need to do something to pour into yourself to feel better so that you can gain some clarity on some things, right? Before you let other people pour into you and contaminate you with whatever their belief is about something, right? So divine flow. Eventually, one sublime desire takes precedence over all others to follow the divine flow at all costs. Okay, so there we go. I think that's it. Yeah, and then these two cards here. Here we have dance. So something about three dancers. Something has come into light, and I'm looking at this sunlight here. Something has come to light. But that is what I have for you. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye.